When bleeding the cooling system on these vans, there's a lot of debate about raise the front end, raise the rear end, pressure bleed, vacuum bleed. It is quite simple. You just have to make sure that on the 2.1s there's a thermostat. That's the bleed screw. You want to make sure that that's open so that air can go up into the bleed rail and work its way back into the reservoir via the bleed rail. On 1.9, there's a fitting here. There's a big plastic H pipe, 2 radiator hoses on this side, 2 radiator hoses on this side, and then there's a bleed hose that comes this way, which makes its way over here. But anyways, so this one here, I drained the cooling system. I put in stainless coolant pipes, got rid of the plastic ones, and all I did was fill or add fluid to the reservoir here until it was full and it wouldn't take any more. Then I went to the front, I took the bleeder screw out of the radiator, and then I puckered up, put my mouth over the bottle, and I blew air into it. The air forces coolant down. Obviously some air, if you go too far, will go back up into here, but that doesn't matter at this point. So you're forcing coolant down, and then you add more coolant, and then you blow some more. Coolant goes down, add more coolant, and basically what's happening is that coolant is being pushed forward into the radiator, goes through the radiator, comes back via the return hose here, and the air comes up. First the air comes out, and then obviously coolant will start to come as well. You basically continue adding and blowing until you get to the point where after you stop blowing, the coolant won't drop, or it'll actually come back up because the radiator is at a higher level than this reservoir. At that point, you put the cap on, you start the engine, hold RPM at about 2000 RPM with one hand. With the other hand, you open up the reservoir, you remove the cap, and you add more fluid. You keep adding fluid until it stops dropping. Keep in mind, at the front of the radiator, you've got the bleeder screw off. So this bleeder screw is off, and you're going to get coolant coming out, especially once the engine starts. So you have to keep an eye on it. You can see here, there's a little bit of squirting. Again, when you blow into the bottle manually, you can come up here after the level doesn't drop anymore. You can come up here and see if there's any wetness. If there's any wetness there, put the screw back in, and then start the engine. With the screw in, you'll get less gush, less of a geyser coming out. Once you have coolant here, you can close it so that the system can build pressure. Keep revving it at 2000 RPM. Keep monitoring the temperature gauge. Make sure the thermostat opens. You can just feel for it. With the engine at 2000 RPM, again, you're holding it like this. Use your other hand, and all you got to do on the synchro, it's this hose here. On the 2-wheel drive version, that hose is on the back side here, so you have to reach around and feel it. Once it feels warm or gets warm, that tells you that the thermostat is opening, because warm coolant that's going to the front through the radiator is making its way back. Keep an eye on the temperature needle. By the time the needle is by the LED or shortly higher than the LED, maybe a half a needle higher than the LED, the fan should come on. If the fan doesn't come on by the time the needle hits 3/4, shut it off and verify to make sure that the fan works by bridging the terminals. Remove the plug. The white and red is power, and the other two are low speed and high speed. The power wire to the middle one is low speed. Power wire to the other outside terminal, there's 3 of them, right? So 2 outer and 1 inner. bridging the white, red and white to the outer one is high speed. If you get low speed and high speed perfect, you know the fan is working. But it could still be that this temperature sensor, you can't see it. No, you can't. There it is. That's a new one. We put in a new radiator, so it gets a new radiator fan switch. So anyways, you can monitor the temperature by hand, by feel. It should get hot at top and the bottom. By the time the bottom gets hot, you know, at 95 degrees, the fan should have come on already. Let it cool down and try it again. Sometimes you have an air pocket. Otherwise, post comments if you have problems and I'll get back to you.